Can you believe that it's 25 days until Christmas? Yeah, all right, good. I like to hear that there's a handful of claps and cheers. And I bet you there's probably a few, maybe like 50-50, who were like, it's not even December yet. Having a hard time with it. But I feel like, even though it's November 30th, we haven't hit December, personally, I feel like Christmas has arrived. I feels like the town has gotten Christmassy just real quick, and so I like Christmas. It's the first Sunday of Advent. It's a month of reflecting on and looking forward to the advent of Jesus, which is God arriving in the flesh, born as Jesus, the Savior. And being the first Sunday of Advent, that means today we start our Christmas series. And as Nick was saying, this series really is intended to be something that somebody could come to church for their first time. And it would be something that they could hopefully relate to and connect with. And we always plan our services and our preaching for people, who might be here for their first time. And but this one even more so. And so if you have someone in your heart that you want to invite, now is the time. Nick is right. All right, it's our Christmas series, and I need to start our Christmas series off by saying, I love Christmas. I really love Christmas. The Pennies love Christmas. We put up our tree and our decorations about 2 weeks ago. It is fully Christmas in our house and has been for a while. The stockings are hung by the chimneys with care, and by chimneys, I mean chimney, because there's one. And December doesn't even start till tomorrow, but the pennies are locked in. I say that because as we work through this series, you might think, man, he must not like Christmas, but I actually do. I love Christmas so much. I love Christmas trees. I love lights. I love Christmas carols. I love the modern classics of Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra and all their Christmas classic-y songs, and I can't remember all their names, but they're really, really good songs. I love all of those things. I love the TV specials, especially the ones from my childhood. I love the Christmas movies, and I love the treats a little bit too much. And I just want to know, I'm so curious if anybody else does this, or if it's just me. Maybe it's like an ADHD thing, I don't know. But I love refreshing the Weather Network app 10 to 15 times a day to see if the chance that we might get snow on Christmas has improved. Does anybody else do that? Yes. Hoping so. So it's not going to change the more you refresh it, but maybe it will. I love that. I love Christmas. But when you stop to really think about it, think about what Christmas is, especially culturally, or what it has become, it's actually pretty weird when you think about it. It's a bit of an odd mashup of a lot of traditions that don't really make a lot of sense, and where do these even come from? Actually, why do we chop down trees and display them in our living room with lights on them for a month in December every year? Where did that come from? Why do we take fake tree branches and affix them onto every bare surface in our homes? Why do we do that? Why do we spend so much money, sometimes extravagant, ridiculous money, to give gifts to each other? Of course, we love each other, and I like to give gifts and all kind of stuff, but who started that? Where did that come from? And why do we wrap those presents in shiny paper? Whose idea was that? And why do we put lights all over everything? And why do we decorate Christmas the way we do? It's got its very own style. And why do we hang glorified socks near the fireplace? And what is with magical flying caribou? And why the North Pole? And why elves? Really? Elves? And Santa. It's interesting. I didn't even know what to say about that. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. That's weird. And last but not least, what even is Boxing Day? That's just what is it? Why? There's, what? Fight night? Oh, boxing, sparring. What is boxing? There's just so many traditions that we just do, and typically we don't think of why, we just do it, and that's fine. Most of us love it. I love it, but it is kind of weird. And you have to admit, cultural Christmas, the way we do it in culture, it's very, very far removed from the heart of the original meaning of Christmas. And the original meaning is all still in the name, Christ Mass. Christ referring to Jesus, the Son of God, and Mass coming from an old Latin word that Catholics use to describe their worship gatherings, basically means worshipful celebration of Jesus, and in Christmas particularly around his birth. Christ Mass. If you've been a part of our church, this is a very invite your friend to church oriented series it's going to be. But if you have been about our church we've been to church for 6 years. If you've been around for any Christmas season of the last 6 years, you will know, and you will know because I say it without fail every year I bring this up. I can't help myself. I absolutely hate the whining that inevitably comes from all the religious circles every year without Christmas, without fail. It's always, keep Christ in Christmas. And it's as if it's the rest of the world's job to do that. And then we put bumper stickers on our cars because that's going to change everything. And Jesus is the reason for the season. We know. Stop being so annoying about it. It's not happy holidays. It's Merry Stinking Christmas, you filthy animal. That's from Home Alone, in case you didn't know why it's at the filthy animal part. I get so uptight about it. And another thing, Christmas trees are pagan. You're probably not going to like our church very much. Just stop. You're not a hero of the faith for taking a stand against Christmas trees. You're just being annoying. God did not come in the form of a man, Jesus, so that we could argue about the origins of the Christmas tree. His advent, the arrival of God in the flesh, was not for the purpose of making people say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays. Obviously, especially for us who are Christians, obviously we got to keep Christ in Christmas. Absolutely. If you're a Christian, yes, duh. And yes, the birth of Jesus is what Christmas is about. That's the reason for the season. Don't be a Scrooge about it. So I say that to say, that's not what this series is about. When I look at it and say, Christmas is weird, it's so far removed from its original meaning, blame. When I do that, I'm not trying to be the Scrooge that religious people often are at Christmas time. I don't want to be like that. But has anybody here seen the movie? I'm sure you have. The classic Charlie Brown Christmas movie. You know that one. Is it okay if I do a show of hands? Can you just show me a show of hands if you've seen it or not? Okay, most people have seen it. In it, it's Christmas time, and Charlie Brown is being particularly existential. He just cannot wrap his mind around what is the absurdity of this Christmas thing. This is the series for anyone who's ever related to Charlie Brown and wrestled with this culturally peculiar and over-the-top annual festival and ask themselves, what on earth are we even doing? This is crazy. And of course, after the Peanuts characters, Charlie Brown's characters, after they've put on the Christmas pageant and they've put Jesus at the center of it, that's when Linus, Charlie Brown's friend with his dirty blanket, comes up to Charlie Brown and says, see, Charlie Brown, that's what Christmas is all about. That's kind of where I want to go with this series, like getting back to the heart of Christmas, what Christmas is really, really about, without being one of those really kind of grumpy Christians. You with me? All right. Culturally, Christmas is a season that is associated with feelings. It's got seriously magical vibes. It's all festive cheer and merry and bright and joy and let it snow and I'll be home for Christmas. This like picture of coming home for Christmas and putting up your feet by the fireplace, and apparently there are chestnuts roasting on it. Or you could just turn on that TV channel where the guy just has a fire going. He comes along and he stokes the fire every now and then. You could do that. Because the feelings of getting bundled up with some hot chocolate and going out and caroling. And it's just like all these warm... Christmas is magical-ish. It's so feelings-y. It's really nice. And there's also all this nostalgia, too, and all the traditions that we grew up with and memories that we'll never forget. I mentioned Christmas TV specials. I loved those. Nothing is as good as them these days. How do I sound like I'm getting older or what? Nothing is as good as the ones I grew up with. I loved the Garfield Christmas special. I don't know if anyone saw that. I was born in 1984. Anybody else seen that one? And there's my particular favorite with Chelsea knows what I'm going to say, and every time I bring it up, nobody knows what I'm talking about, and it hurts my heart because it is incredible claymation Christmas. Yes. I'm so pumped right now. I just love that one. Every time I show it to you, you guys, this is so weird. I love it. It's so good. Anyways, I digress. Going to the mall, remember those? And seeing the Santa Village all decorated, like where you go when you get your pictures taken, and it sure is nice to see all the other kids doing that, even though I'm too terrified too. Hopping in the car with your family and going on a Christmas lights tour. And our family, the Pennies, we do something we call it the Polar Express. So one time in the Christmas break of school, the kids don't know when it's coming. It's random every year, kind of. We'll sneakily Dang it, you're in here. You know this anyways. We'll sneak a little, and by dang it, you're in here, I mean, I'm actually really pumped that you're in here. I just didn't want to spoil this for you, but you already know. We printed a golden ticket. It says the Polar Express on it. We hide it under, don't tell your brothers. We hide it under their pillows. And then once they've fallen asleep, or they've just barely fallen asleep, last year we waited too long and they were in a deep sleep and it was messed up. They were hot. But if they're just lightly almost asleep, we'll get some hot chocolate and I'll get a little YouTube video of trains playing. So it's like, chugga, 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 hoo, hoo, and I'll get some bells and we'll start ringing them and we'll go down the hallway and we'll be like, it's the Polar Express. And the boys are like, oh, and we go. And then their pajamas, we go in the car, we go look at Christmas lights. It's awesome. I love those kind of things. I got warm fuzzies remembering Christmas Eve candlelight services at church every year. And I wish we could do it. It'd be a lot easier if we had our own building. One day we'll do those again. But I loved Christmas Eve candlelight services, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but in retrospect, I loved the cringy pageants and the specials where somebody would sing a cringy song with cringy backing tracks and really cringy vibrato. Always, Mary, did you know? Like that, always. And yet somehow I loved it. It was so bad, and yet it was so good. And I think of like lying in bed at Christmas Eve, and I'm looking out the windows, and I can see the glow of the lights that my dad put up just outside the window, and it feels so good, and it's so exciting, and it's so cozy. I'm not done yet. Then I'll hop on the BC ferries at some point over the Christmas break and head over to the mainland to visit Papa and Granny for Christmas, and all my cousins and all my aunts and all my uncles. And Granny baked these little round sugar cookies. They were little balls, and she put a maraschino cherry in the middle of them. Those were my all-time favorite until peanut butter marshmallow bars came along and thus supplanted the round sugar cookie maraschino cherry things. She made those, and they were good. And Papa and Granny would always have a cupboard full of breakfast cereals that I wasn't allowed to have. There'd be Lucky Charms and Trix and Fruity Pebbles, and I would go Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs, and I would have 2 bowls. And after that, I will never forget driving home from Christmas at Papa and Granny's in our 1989 GMC Suburban in a whiteout blizzard, and we just barely made the last ferry before they shut them down because the snow was so crazy, and then driving super slow all the way home, and the snow was piling up so fast, it was so magical. And little did I know, I was about to experience the blizzard of 96. A once-in-a-lifetime event for Vancouver Island children. I don't know if anything like that will ever happen again. It was so crazy. It was like 2 more weeks off of school. It was like Christmas break was extended. It was the Christmas that never ended. It was like more snow than I ever seen in my life, and lots of time playing EA Sports, NHL hockey on the Super Nintendo. It was the best. I know not everybody... I might sound privileged, I don't know. Not everybody got to have the same childhood that I had, but I still think that almost everybody probably has their own version of memories like this. Everybody has their own tales of the glories of Christmases long time ago. It's the most wonderful time. Yes, somebody's got of the year. Yes, I love it. It's great. I do love it. I love Christmas, and I love seeing my kids make their own version of these memories. But there is a problem. When you're a kid, it's all magical. As you get older, you start to notice things. The older you get, the more you notice the consumerism. And when October's not even done yet, and Walmart has already loaded the shelves with Christmas stuff because they're going to get rich off of it. And I'm not trying to be a Scrooge. I'm not. I really don't want to be a Scrooge. I am going to be a little bit of one. But I'm just saying that annual hamster wheel of pressure surrounding bigger and better presents, and your Christmas light displays got to be better than your neighbor, absolutely. And one of my favorite things that make you go, is when Santa brings this kid a $2,000 bike and Santa brings that kid socks and chocolate. You couldn't see it when you were a kid. But there's family drama because such and such a thing happened, and Uncle What's-His-Face is weird. You couldn't see it when you were a kid, but your single mom was working 2.5 jobs just so you could have Christmas. You didn't know it when you were little, but mom and dad were arguing behind the scenes, and, sir, I want to buy these shoes for my mama, please. She's been sick for quite a while, and I know these shoes will make her smile. She's like, don't sing it. Don't sing it. People are actually hurting at Christmas. Hallmark isn't real life. And maybe now as an adult, you might try to recreate the magic of Christmas that you felt as a child. And if you have kids of your own, they probably love it like you did, and that's great. Maybe for you, you still love Christmas. But the older you get, the more it just kind of comes and goes. And every year, as you pack up the decorations, you feel a little disappointed because it didn't end up being everything you hoped it would be again. That sounds really depressing, but it's going to get better. And then January 2nd, it's over. You got to take down the tree. No one likes doing that. Put the decorations away. Barf, no thank you. Take down the Christmas lights. Go back to school. Go back to work. The dopamine rush of Christmas is gone, and you got responsibilities again. You got to get back to the grind, and suddenly you become aware that it is raining. And it will be raining for the next 4 months. And there's still 6 months to go until summer. I don't like January, February, or March. And none of it bothered you before Christmas because you had Christmas to look forward to. But now that Christmas is over, all you have is January. What happens is that for a short season, we put all of our hope into a cultural holiday and all its associated feelings. And when the holiday and the feelings are removed, it's a bit of a letdown. It's kind of disappointing. The cracks in the facade of Christmas, cultural Christmas, begin to show, and you realize that was fun, and I do like it, but something is missing. And it's a little bit of a snapshot of what life is sometimes like. Life can be like that. Our souls remain thirsty for something that it turns out the nostalgia and the memories and the traditions and the lights and the warm feelings of cultural Christmas just cannot provide, at least not in a way that lasts. We put our hope momentarily in something that seems to be able to tap into the deepest longing of our souls, but is unable to meet those deepest longings. Well, that's miserable. I'm never coming back to this church again. Why did you invite me here? Don't forget, I love Christmas. I totally love Christmas. I am not going to ditch my Christmas tree or my Christmas village. Definitely not my Christmas village or my lights or my presents or my kids' presents or my wife's presents, but especially not my presents. I'm not going to suggest that we throw it all out and just be super miserable and religious for the next 4 weeks. No. But I do want to reintroduce us to what Christmas is all about for real. Because the Christmas that I celebrate is one that brings a soul-satisfying life to hungry souls that are desperate for a light to shine out from the darkness. As the ancient Jewish prophet Isaiah wrote on behalf of God to the Israelites, Isaiah 9:2, he said, "The people who walk in darkness will see a great light. For those who live in a land of deep darkness, a light will shine." He was looking ahead to Jesus. In verse 6, he says, "For a child is born to us, a son is given to us. The government will rest on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." The long and the short of it is that we, humans, mankind, people, our souls have a hunger, a longing, a yearning, and we will try to satisfy the hunger with things, even good things like Christmas and feelings and festivities, but also things like romance and sex and food and money and entertainment and pleasure and influence and status and achievement, accomplishment, recognition, all these things. And have you ever noticed how we're always looking for the next thing? Like the next thing, that will be the thing, then I'll be happy. And when you're a kid, you can't wait to be a teenager. And when you're a teenager, you can't wait to be independent. And once you've got your independence, you can't wait to fall in love. And then once you've fallen in love, you can't wait to buy a house. And then once you have a house, you can't wait to have kids. And then once you've had kids, you can't wait for them to go. And then there's about 20, just kidding. Then there's like 20 years of just doing your best to survive. And then when your kids move out, you can't wait to retire. And at some point you hit an age where you so badly just wish you could go back and do all the things that you rushed through when you were younger because you were trying to find fulfillment in the next thing. It stings a little bit. We're always looking for the next thing that will make us happy, the next thing that will finally fulfill us. And you might live the picture-perfect life. You could have a loving spouse and a great marriage and wonderful kids and a great job, and you might accumulate a little bit of wealth and have a great home and a nice car, maybe two, and some great vacations along the way. You could have it all, and to top it off, you could plan meticulously and execute the most perfect Hallmarkian Christmas of ever, and yet still, it doesn't quite satisfied. You're still looking for the next thing. Maybe this Stanley mug will do it for me. Maybe this iPhone with 7 cameras will do it for me. Maybe this new thing, maybe this little that. As you get older, disappointment starts to settle in a little bit. Say, is this what life is? Is this all there is? Am I missing something? It feels like I'm missing something. Sometimes we're so desperate to fill the ache in our soul that we'll go to some pretty dark places in search of relief. Sometimes we get trapped there. We do damage to ourselves, to our souls, sometimes even the people that we love. If you can relate to any of this, good news, you're not alone. This has been the human condition since Adam and Eve took a bite of that fruit, that one fruit they weren't supposed to eat. And that hunger in your soul is a hunger for life and joy, to live, to be alive the way you were designed to be. You've got a sense that there must be more to this, and that's because God designed you for more than this. You were designed for the true life that comes from being connected to God himself, the author of life. But that life was taken from you by something called sin and death. But when Jesus was born, that was God coming to us to fix it. When God became man and came to this world, he gave us a taste of his life and invited us into it. His own cousin John wrote this about him. John the Baptist, John chapter 1 said, "In the beginning, the Word already existed." The Word is Jesus, by the way. The Word, Jesus, was with God, and the Word was God. He existed in the beginning with God. God created everything through him, and nothing was created except through him. The Word gave life, say life, to everything that was created, and his life, say life, brought light, say light, to everyone. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. God sent to man John the Baptist. He's talking about himself in the third person for some reason. God sent to man John the Baptist to tell about the light so that everyone might believe because of his testimony. John himself was not the light. He was just a witness to tell about the light. The one who is the true light, who gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. Spoiler alert, the arrival of the life-giving light of the world, Jesus, the living word of God. That is what Christmas is all about. He came into the very world he created, but the world didn't recognize him. He came to his own people, and even they rejected him. But to all who believed him and accepted him, he gave them the right to become children of God. They are reborn, not with a physical birth resulting from human passion or plan, but a birth that comes from God. In other words, they're given new life, connection to the God who created them, designed them. That rebirth, that new life, that is the life that your soul has been longing for. It's been so elusive. It comes through Jesus. That's where we get it from. God became a person, took on the form of a man, Jesus, stepped into our world in order to bring us back into his life. The verse finishes out the passage. So the Word became human and made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness, and we have seen his glory, the glory of the Father's one and only Son. And that, my friends, is what Christmas is all about. God became a man, born as a baby, came to us, fully God and also fully man, so that we could know him, be reconnected to God the Father, the one who gives life and light to those whose souls have been in the dark, starving for the real thing. When we put our faith in Jesus, he gives us his life. And his life fills us with the hope and a confidence and an assurance that no other thing can come close to. And no matter how perfect your Christmas is or isn't, it just cannot do for your soul what Jesus alone can do. And I'm positive that many of us, like Charlie Brown, have probably hit that point in our lives, that existential moment where we subconsciously ask ourselves, is this really it? And if it is, then we might be feeling a little hopeless. And outside of our families, this life is kind of shallow and meaningless. And to be honest, even your family can't give you the life that you're looking for. And if that's the case, what's the point of any of this? But the arrival of Jesus, God in the flesh, introduces us to a hope that cannot be taken from us. The life that he invites us into gives us hope and meaning and purpose. There is more, and God has come to us to invite us into it. That's what Christmas is about. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 19, the author says, "This hope is a strong and trustworthy anchor for our souls. It leads us through the curtain into God's inner sanctuary." It's like saying it leads us into God's life-giving presence. Hey, Sarah, do you want to tinker on the keys for a minute? It seems like the right thing to do. If you ever felt like your life lacks an anchor, maybe you felt like you're just tossed around, you're just trying to find something worth holding on to, and maybe this will be the thing you think as you latch onto that thing or this thing. You just can't find something that is trustworthy and secure. Of all the things you've tried to anchor into, none of them have fit the bill. If you've ever felt like you lacked hope, you lacked an anchor, maybe it's time to consider anchoring all of your hope in Jesus, God in the flesh. Over these next few weeks of Advent, I invite you. We don't got to make a big scene about it. I just invite you to begin to seek him, begin to trust him, begin to look to him to be the source of life that you're desperate for in your soul. Look to him to satisfy the longing of your soul. Invite him to be the anchor of your life, the one you cling to, the one you trust, and the one who holds you securely. And I think you'll find that he is the one and only true and trustworthy source of soul-satisfying life and hope. Let's pray. You can close your eyes, bow your head. You don't got to do anything, but if you want to, you can pray this with me in your hearts. God, thank you for Jesus. We could not attain your life for ourselves, so you brought your life to us. You entered into our darkness and you lit it up. You invited us into the connection we were created for. You gave us your life, your light, and nothing can extinguish it. For any soul in this room that has felt the thirst and the hunger, may they find fulfillment in life in you starting right now. We worship you, Lord. You're worthy of our worship. Thank you for Jesus. Help us to see him more clearly this month. Everybody said? Amen. Amen.